I finally got some more cool stuff and wanted to share with you guys. These are mostly pickups from flea markets and garage sales. Start with these collector packs. These are the Power of the Force figures from the 90s. These collector packs were packages they couldn't sell, so they bundled them together for resale. These, not valuable at all, but I think they're kind of neat, so I went ahead and picked them up. Got one here for Star Wars, and then a very, very dusty one here for The Empire Strikes Back. Said not a lot of money in these, but you know, they're kind of cool, so I liked them. And got a mix of, I just bought these today, these cases here, and the reason I got them is because they have a lot of the last 17. Not any weapons or anything, but a lot of figures. And paid a little more than I wanted for these, but you'll see why when I open them up in just a second. But here's some of the figures that were in the package that I kind of took out because they fell out. Got another Boba Fett for everyone who loves Boba Fett. But they're a mix of vintage and new. But pretty cool. Two of the carded figures I got. This fella, I can put him on my barge because he's definitely an opener, but cool figure. And an Ahsoka. Always good to get her. Let's take a look in the case. So, you can see here, we have, like I said, a mix of new and old. So, we have an Emperor, one of the R2 droids, but we also have, you know, Gamorrean Guard, Orc. So, I mean, these are the reasons I bought this. Got a Warwick in here, got a Ramba in here. I know you guys are going to scream at their own figures, but General Calrissian, all last 17. Once again, no weapons or anything, but they're in good shape. Got the Luke Endor, missing his belt, but he's got his poncho. Leia Endor, who has her belt, poncho, little frayed, and the helmet, but also, like I said, no weapons with hardly any of these. But okay. Gonk droid, missing his stuff. The rest of these are fairly regular. Got a really crappy Han Solo. We got a nice little Yoda who somehow happened to keep his cane, so he's cool. I always like Yodas. I didn't get any Jawas here, but you can see a mix of all. So got a Maul, Darth Vader, Anakin, you know, R2. So pretty good mix of figures. Squid head. Put this off to the side. Now, got the Cloud Car Pilot's head. And in the other case, yeah, they're all falling out. But here we have another last 17. We have Barada. We got Paplu. And down here, always nice to find, an Amanaman. I actually have a weapon for him, so he's pretty good. He's got a little bit of rub on his tail, but you know, you don't find these too often. And to get them all in this case was pretty good. Another nice little bonus is the brown-haired Luke Skywalker. Sometimes these are repainted by people, but if you get one and you're worried about the hair being painted and them trying to deceive you because the brown hair is worth more than the blonde, look on the top of his head. Usually the brown hair ones, actually not usually, all the brown hair ones I've ever seen have spots on the top. So if you see one without these little spots on the top of the mold, that's brown. It was painted that way. This one is an authentic brown-haired Luke Skywalker. So, little tip for identification of him. And the rest of the figures in here, you know, pretty regular. Got a low butt. Everyone wants low butt. And somehow, Obi-Wan, pretty good shape. Hardly any paint rub, but he was able to keep his lightsaber when no one else could. But yeah, regular Star Wars figures, which I've seen before. We got a Han and Poncho. Missing one of the straps in the case, but the cases aren't in very good shape anyway. Yeah, Han Endor. Got a Leia. So this was a nice find that just happened today. Paid a little more than I normally would have because of you know, all the last 17, and because of the brown-haired Luke. Another thing that I got at the flea market a little while ago, when you go to the flea market a lot of times people seem to recognize you, and this guy's like, you buy Star Wars, don't you? And he pulled out this big bag of stuff to give to me. Not give, sell, but still, he pointed it out and made sure I got it. So in here, not all Star Wars, we got some the Burger King contests. You know, these are just game cards, not worth anything. But I think they're neat. They're just, you know, part of memories. Not Star Wars. Got a He-Man jigsaw puzzle, or a slider puzzle. We got a Smurfs button. This is folding instructions for something. But in here we have a first for me, which I'm really happy about, is a couple of the vintage Indiana Jones figures. He's obviously got red on him and staining, but you know, these are my first vintage Indiana Jones figures finds. So happy to get those. Looks like we have a jacket for Prince Adam. Some more, another Boba Fett, actually in pretty decent shape, but yeah, another Boba Fett. The other cool thing, got a Dianaga. It's nice finding a mix of figures like this from, you know, all of the 3 movies all in one here. I don't know what that is. Looks like Flintstone stickers. Raspberry Farm cup. I don't know. Little weird stuff. Got a twin pod car die cast. A reflector for the bike. Looks at big stuff. License plate used to get in cereals. Old Disney guide. Frankenberry. Got another Imperial Guard. Die-cast snow speeder. And some new action figures that were mixed in there. These are pretty much clone troopers from Clone Wars. No weapons in any of these either, but you know, they're nice shape. He's got his helmet at least. So he's got someone else's helmet. But good mix of figures. So I got all this last couple weeks, and one more thing to share with you. Just one second. Okay, so I picked this up just last week, again at the flea market. I actually stopped to look at this guy because he had some old Hot Wheels cars, which I generally don't buy, but I wanted to look at them. Then I looked over and saw a huge pile of the modern Star Wars figures. Yeah, I got a few of them here, as you can see. Pretty good mix of just about everything, but mostly from the Clone Wars. And a few not action figures, but just little static figures. A few of these thrown in. Usually when I come across stuff like this, it's cheaper and easier to buy it in a lot. That's why I get these things, which I'm not really interested in. But if I were only to pick out the ones I was interested in, it would have cost me a whole lot more than just buying all the figures. But as you can see here, we got tons of bucket heads, the clone troopers, mostly from the Clone War series. Got the Rexes. This guy whose name I'm blanking on. But yeah, just about every version of the clone troopers. Got nice Anakin here in all-weather gear. Some of the droids. Jango Fett. More clone troopers. And, oh, there we go. Got a baby Ronto. I think it was, no, it's not Ronto. I forget which little hut this is. Slimo. He goes with an Ahsoka figure that I may or may not have in here, since I have a bit of everything. But as you may or may not see, I also have a lot of weapons in here, which is always good. I don't think I have weapons for every figure, but I definitely have weapons and accessories for, I would think, a good 3/4 of these figures. And some weapons and accessories for stuff I don't have, because I believe this is for Anakin's Jedi Starfighter, one of the guns to that. And then I have a couple of the missiles. So, Anakin without his Starfighter. Got the Clone Wars in the movie version. I really like the Clone Wars figures. They have a very nice style. I really like those. And this guy, who's probably Darth something, I don't remember who he is. But Just a great collection of figures that I was really happy to stumble on at the flea market. This was all right time, right place. I was out, you know, he put these out probably, you know, 5-10 minutes before I got there, and hadn't sold any of them, so I was able to buy, like I said, the whole lot from him at a very good price. I'm sure these wouldn't have lasted too long into the day, especially with all the accessories. I'm sure someone would have come by and bought the clone troopers. So really, really happy with this find, and I'm going to be spending the next few days putting together the accessories and matching up all the figures here. But I'll go to the flea market too tomorrow, see what I can find. But until next time, keep hunting, and hopefully you'll find something good too.